He stole my patent, fired me, but he forgot one thing. I built the system. My name is Marcus Hale. I'm 43 years old and a systems engineer who built his entire life around technology. I started coding when I was 11, but the lines that shaped my destiny were written years later at a company called QuantumSyn. I joined QuantumSyn back in 2008. Startups were booming. Everyone had an idea, but what we had was different. The system I designed. A low-latency, high-frequency data processing engine that helped QuantumSyn quietly catch the attention of Wall Street. For the first 3 years, I worked like a ghost. Days and nights melted together. I slept in the office. Every database, every security layer, every hidden access point bore my signature. The truth? I was the only one who fully understood how the system worked. Michael Drew, one of the co-founders, and I had a good relationship, at least at first. He was the visionary CEO type. I handled the architecture, he handled the money, but over time my name stopped appearing in presentations. The first time I noticed was in 2014. Michael pitched my processing engine as his own in a VC meeting. I watched the recorded video in stunned silence. I said nothing. Pick your battles, I thought. But some battles come for you. In 2018, QuantumSyn filed for a patent. My design, my filtering engine. I never even saw the paperwork. I wasn't listed as a co-inventor, only Michael's name. When I confronted him, he smiled and said, "It's just a formality, Marcus. You're getting paid, right?" He tapped my shoulder like I was a rookie. Something broke inside me that day, but I didn't explode. I kept working, kept building, quietly. That same year, I began reinforcing parts of the system. Nothing malicious, just secure. Admin privileges got tighter. Critical backups were encrypted. A few essential services could only be reactivated with my manual verification. No one noticed, because no one understood it like I did. Then came 2020, the pandemic. Everyone went remote, but I stayed at the core, watching the system pulse like a heartbeat. That's when Michael asked me for a new presentation. For investors, he said. What he really wanted was my second innovation, a blockchain-based transaction verification system. I delivered the presentation, but I embedded something at the end, a surprise. One key module was encrypted with a note. This component requires manual administrator approval to run. I was the only one who could unlock it. Weeks passed. I noticed strange movements in the company, canceled meetings, skipped updates. Then came the message. HR summoned me. Michael was waiting with a straight face. "Marcus, your role's being eliminated due to restructuring." No thanks, no handshake, just silence. I nodded once and said, "I understand," then left. No one met my eyes as I packed. It didn't matter. The next morning, I sat at my desk with a cup of coffee. No office, no title, no job. But in my mind, I was still inside the core of QuantumSyn's infrastructure. And as it turned out, so was my access. They had revoked my email, deactivated my keycard, but they had forgotten to reset my SSH keys, a small oversight. The kind of thing that only matters when the system is custom-built and built by someone like me. I didn't touch anything, not yet, I just watched. Michael and his new team were trying to make sense of the architecture, but this wasn't some off-the-shelf software stack. This system was layered, interdependent, modular. Each component triggered another in a specific chain. They didn't understand that. Within days, the cracks began to show. First, a colleague messaged me privately, "Hey man, the new team is struggling. Half the services are down. They can't access the archives." I simply replied, "Interesting." Then came the investor portal crash. Users were locked out for hours. The automated security response I had designed kicked in and activated a defense protocol, one I'd named Ghost Root, a system-wide lockdown designed to protect intellectual property from unauthorized tampering, and I was the only one who could disable it. That's when Michael reached out. First, an email. "Hey Marcus, we're hitting a snag with one of your modules. Quick consult?" Ignored. Then a LinkedIn message, "Need a hand, system issues, just a few hours of your time, paid of course." Ignored, again. On the third day, my phone rang. Michael. I let it ring, then picked up. "Marcus, hey, it's Michael." "I know." Look, maybe we didn't handle things perfectly, but the system's going down. We're bleeding clients. We just need a few hours. Full consulting rate, please. His tone was different now, no longer smug, just desperate. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult him. I just asked, do you know what the system needs right now? We can't access the logs. Some of the APIs are breaking, and no, Michael, the system doesn't need logs. It needs me, and I taught it how to stay quiet when strangers speak. The silence on the other end said everything. I added, you stole my patent, you took my system, and now you're locked out. I didn't change the system, I just made it remember who built it. Then I hung up, and I didn't feel anger. I felt calm, because now it wasn't about revenge, it was about strategy. Michael still thought I was gone. He didn't realize I'd never left. The war had just begun. QuantumSyn tried to save face. For weeks, they issued vague public statements, temporary service issues, scheduled updates, cloud maintenance. But beneath the surface, their infrastructure was unraveling. They were drowning, quietly, painfully. I didn't do anything to sabotage them. I didn't touch a single file. I didn't write a single malicious line of code. I didn't need to. The system was doing exactly what I designed it to do, protect itself when it sensed unfamiliar hands trying to take control. And Michael, he had no idea how deep that control went. One morning I got a message from Laura, one of the few people at QuantumSyn who still had a soul. Marcus, it's worse than we thought. 3 major investors are backing out. Customer data is lagging. Michael's spiraling. I simply wrote, expected. Later that day, I received another email from Michael. Longer this time. Desperate. Marcus, please, we need you. The system is falling apart and no one knows how to fix it. We'll bring you back. Full authority. Your terms. Still, I didn't respond, but I had made a decision. That evening, I accessed an off-grid backup environment I had created years ago. A clean, untouchable version of the entire system architecture. I'd kept it not for revenge, but for pride. It was a reminder of what I had built with my own hands. I reviewed the logs. That's when I saw it. Michael had attempted to sell parts of the system I architected, to a shady third-party firm, one with no public record, no real team, and no infrastructure. He wasn't trying to fix anything. He was trying to profit off my work before the whole thing collapsed. That was the moment something shifted inside me. I wasn't angry. I was clear. This wasn't about ego anymore. It was about accountability. Michael wasn't just a thief. He was a liability. The next morning, I sent a signal into the main system, not to break it, not to hack it, but to remind them who had built it. All throughout the architecture, across dashboards and internal logs, one sentence appeared. To proceed, contact the system's original architect. No threats, no signature, but everyone who mattered knew exactly what it meant. By noon, my phone rang. Not Michael. It was the chairman of the board. Mr. Hale, he said carefully, we've reviewed internal activity. Michael has made decisions without proper oversight. We'd like to resolve this quickly. What are your terms? I didn't hesitate. First, I want full co-inventor rights on all patents related to my work. Second, reinstate my role, but independently from the executive chain. And third, I want to build a training program. No more knowledge gatekeeping. If I come back, it'll be to teach the next generation not just how to code, but how to protect what they build. There was silence on the line. Then he spoke. Agreed. Later that day, I logged into QuantumSyn's live system. The access was still there. Everything recognized me, like I had never left. I didn't say a word, but when I restored the system, when it lit up again across the company, everyone understood. I was back, not just inside the system, but at the helm. When QuantumSyn's system came back online, everyone took a breath. For them, it was relief. For me, it was quiet closure. I didn't celebrate, I didn't gloat. I simply looked at the code, my code, and knew it was working again, just as I designed it. That same evening, I was invited to a private board meeting. No Michael this time. He had resigned earlier that day, but I knew better. He was pushed. The internal audit I triggered had revealed everything. The unauthorized contracts, the stolen IP, and the false claims. The board sat around a long glass table, looking at me like I was both savior and ghost. "Mr. Hale," the chairman began, "thank you for restoring the system. We underestimated your role. We want to make it right." But I didn't want praise. I wanted structure. "This isn't about fixing your mistake," I told them. "It's about making sure no one can ever do what Michael did again." I presented a simple plan: co-inventor status on every patent I was involved in. A new role, technical director with full autonomy, reporting directly to the board, not the CEO. An internal program to document and teach the architecture so the company would never again depend on one person or try to silence them. They agreed, unanimously. The next few weeks were filled with rebuilding, not the system. I had already done that. I rebuilt the team, the documentation, the trust. I turned silence into structure. I made the invisible visible. And as for the system, it thrived. Faster, stronger, smarter, because it finally had leadership that respected where it came from. Months later, a junior engineer approached me in the hallway. He looked nervous but curious. "Sir, I've been reading through your architecture notes. Some of it's way ahead of anything I've seen before. How did you come up with it?" I smiled. "I didn't just write code," I said. "I wrote experience into every line." The kid nodded, but I could tell he didn't fully understand. He would, someday, because that was the point now. Not revenge, legacy. They once fired me to save money. Now they knew I was priceless. Some people ask me why I never fought back when Michael took credit for my work, why I didn't sue, why I didn't shout louder. The answer is simple. Some wars are won in silence. The loudest man in the room gets ignored, but the one who built the foundation, he becomes impossible to erase. Months later, they added a small plaque to the entrance of the Quantum Sin HQ. It read, "Marcus Hale, Architect of the Core." I never asked for that, but I did build it, and now they'd never forget it.